You're rolling with Dr. K. Dr. K. 170 every Wednesday. You're rolling with Dr. K. Oh, Dr. K. 170 every Wednesday. You're
I love it. I got a theme song. How y'all doing today? Today is Wednesday and it is August 14th, and we are rolling all the way to Las Vegas, Nevada. Yep, we're in Las Vegas. Woohoo, guys. Yes. And we are with candidate for, oh my goodness, County Commissioner District number 10, Roslyn Harris. If you are watching via GRTV 25, we want to say thank you so much for tuning in. And it is still election time, so you are not behind. You will be able to vote on November 5th. And Roslyn is a Black American woman. She is gorgeous, guys. She is lighter skinned and she has longer than shoulder length hair, which it looks like it's dyed like a burgundy, maybe. And she has on this hot pink top, and she has on her button that says, I'm sure you know, vote for Roslyn Harris. And you guys know me. I am in my signature. Oh, wait a minute, you can't see my butterfly. See my purple butterfly with my purple earrings to match, and glasses, of course. And let's not forget the lip gloss and the purple glitter lashes. And we want to say thank you for tuning in today. Ooh, that was a mouthful, wasn't it? There we go. And, and we have up here scrolling and on the screen, if you want to get in touch with Roslyn, work with her campaign, write a check, you know, because it takes dollars and cents to get this done. So, what did I say? Dollars and some cents. So if you got 25, 30, you know that change you find in the couch when you were down up underneath the seats when you cleaning out your car. Save all that and help look, help a sister out. Like Rosalind, oh, we got a heart. Yep. Yay. Let's see.
Hi.
Yes, we got some hearts. Hi, Rosalind.
Hello, Dr. Barrington. Thank you for having me today.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. All mine. I'm so excited.
I am too. Thank you.
I love it when women run for office, especially women of color. We have a lived, how do I want to put this? Um, Lived experiences that can resonate really well with our constituents. Would you agree?
Yes, I would agree wholeheartedly.
Why are you running?
Dr. Barrington, I am running for commissioner to be that voice that we do need in not only Gaines Township, but just in the Kent County community. There's some concerns and issues out that I feel that I know that I can make a difference with my voice. And the reason that I know this is because of my personal experience. Sometimes you have to walk the path in order to be able to be that voice because you have experienced it. And with the knowledge that I've gained and the people that I've met, I do feel that my voice, my knowledge, my passion will be the voice that Kent County needs um, in District 10.
So, what is District 10 composed of?
District 10 is Gaines Township, and it's south of 68th Street, and it goes south to 84th. Um, have been in Gaines Township for 20 years, over 20 years, and I would say it was pretty rural back in the day. It was not as diverse as it is now. So I'm very proud to say that it is a melting pot. So I have seen the changes in the area. I would say, when I moved in the district 20 years ago, it was not as diverse. The housing was still not as affordable, but there's now more housing coming up. There's more people of color, other ethnic backgrounds in the township, small businesses owned by ethnic backgrounds. So I think the or dynamics of Gaines Township is one big melting pot. And moving forward, I can see that the Kentwood schools are there. They're more diverse. The neighborhoods are more diverse. So, that's a positive thing.
About how many people are in your district?
That number I am not certain of at this time. Um, but the district does encompass a lot of the elementary schools, which one of the elementary schools is Explorer Elementary. There is the Dutton schools as well, which is part of Gaines Township. And as far as the number of the candidates, the number of people in the district, I am not certain of, but that's most definitely something I would have to gather those demographics at a later time.
We want to say thank you to Stacey Willis and to Jason Lee who are watching us right now. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. What is your platform?
My platform, I do have RoslundHarris.com. I have 7 priorities for my campaign, and I'm very passionate about 3 of them because they all kind of fall together. And the most passionate that I am is the fair court systems in not only just Kent County, but just in Michigan as well. But for me, starting at the county level is important because that's where you learn the knowledge. I have not always been in the political arena, so this is new for me. So just getting out and learning how to connect the dots and who to connect the dots with is very important. But my platform right now is there's 7 priorities on my website. But the 3 that I like to talk about today would be promoting the fair courts, advocating for our seniors and veterans, as well as for mental health services in the community.
And you don't feel that there's enough in Gaines Township as far as mental health and helping veterans and the elderly?
It's not just about Gaines Township. It's about Kent. I keep saying Kent community, Kent County as a whole. Gaines Township, we do have veterans and we have lots of seniors, particularly in Crystal Springs area, as well as the condominiums that the retirement community. So it's never enough services, I should say, when it comes to the people. I'm a people first advocate, and I believe in making sure those resources are available when the community needs them.
We want to say thank you to Artie Franklin for tuning in. We appreciate you, Artie. You tuned in on yesterday's show, Rolling on the Road with Dr. Kimberly and Dave, and now today with Just Rolling with the Doc. Your viewership is most important to us. Let's talk about the points individually. And I'm going to put in a shameless plug that when we talk about the court system, when you get ready to vote, they are going to be in the nonpartisan section of your ballot. So if you're a Democrat, yep, you can vote straight Democrat. However, please turn your ballot over and do the nonpartisan section. That would include your judges. And he said, hi, Miss Purple. Thank you, sir. That would include your judges. And Grand Rapids is voting for a mayor. So please make sure you choose your mayor wisely. That's all I have to say about that. And when it comes to our judges, our first ever African-American woman and the youngest Michigan Supreme Court judge is on the ballot this year, Miss Kyra Harris Bolden. Woohoo! That is so exciting. Yes, yes, yes. And there she is. She is, Shayna is tuning in all the way from Bel Air, Maryland. We appreciate you, Shayna. We have to tell you about her later. But um, make sure that you please turn that ballot over and vote for your mayor and vote for your judges, that Supreme Court. Mm, yes, shameless plug. Kyra Harris Bolden. I was honored to have been there. She took over from another judge and she finished out that particular judge's term. And so she was appointed by our governor, Gretchen Whitmer, to finish out that particular seat. And now she has to run. We want to say thank you to Bertaji, who is watching all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you. We appreciate you. So, Bertaji, you know, Kyra is over there in your neck of the woods. So I need you to get on it, get on it, get on it.
Yes.
So that means the first one is about our court. You want to explain a little bit about that?
Yes. So, in particular, when I speak about the courts, I'm speaking about the probate courts in Kent County, as well as just overall in Michigan in general. It's been my experience. And as county commissioner, I do just want to advocate that the courts are fair, ensuring justice and equality for everyone, handling the cases with integrity, and we holding the judges accountable when they're not following the laws, and just being impartial within the judicial system to protect the rights of our Kent County residents, particularly our seniors and our disabled residents. From my experience, there are some systemic issues within Michigan related to guardianship. So if we want to talk about that a little more, I can kind of explain. So that's kind of where my passion is with the probate courts when I talk about the fair court system and the judges following the laws when implementing those guardianships and avoiding separating the families.
Well, yeah, we can talk a little bit about that, but first we're going to take a commercial break, if you will.
Okay.
We want to thank you so much for tuning into Rolling on the Roll with Dr. Kimberly. You are rolling with the doc, and it is presented by 100 Shades of Diverse Ability, where we improve the quality of life for persons with diverse abilities legislatively, and that's why we have Ms. Harris on today, and we do it economically. We do it through community partnerships and education. And so on Wednesdays, we're going to have lots of opinions and and conversations of anything that supports the mission of 100 Shades of Diverse Ability. And it is imperative that you get out and vote on November 5th. And that is statewide, that is nationwide. So even if you are not in the state of Michigan, November 5th is the general election. Everyone that you chose during the primary election will now move forward to the general election. The only ones that you did not vote on were the nonpartisan positions, which is like your mayors and your judges. And of course, again, that is nationwide. That is not just relegated to the state of Michigan. So some of the information that we're going to share today may just be for Michigan, how we handle things judiciously. However, when we talk about guardianship, it affects everyone across the United States. What we are finding, especially as people of color, is that we don't have things in place. We have to know what we want to do before it's time to do it. I always say, make a decision before the decision needs to be made. Then you're not in court. You're not doing in a frantic state. and everybody has a clear head. And so we're going to kind of delve a little bit into uh, guardianship as it relates to the courts. And if you've had this experience, please reach out to us and we'll get you to the right folks within your state, within your county. If you are not in this state or within this county, we will definitely help you uh, get to the right person. But we're going to continue to have this conversation. It's definitely in the works. We have some other folks that we're going to have on here, and we're going to really delve in and have the conversation. But if you would like to go ahead and explain about what guardianships are and why you're so passionate.
Well, the guardianships are, it is a form of, it's supposed to be a form of protection, a form of appointing a family member to another family member based on law or the statute of priorities. But what we're finding in Michigan and other states is that when someone petitions for guardianship over a family member, a friend, the judges are not following the priorities, which number one, the priorities would be for the person that the impact, the person that actually is petitioned for the guardianship, who they choose. And if that person that they choose is found to be unsuitable or unwilling, then there's a list of priorities, and it would be the spouse or the adult child. So I'm not hitting all the points, but basically in a nutshell, that's how it works. However, in Michigan, particularly Kent County, the probate courts are skipping over family, and they're appointing family members to court appointed guardians. And once you are appointed to a court appointed guardian, the Kent County program also appoints a conservator, which oversees the finances. And once this is done, this person has total control over your life. They can control where you live. They can control where you go on a daily basis. They can decide whether they want to pay your bills or not, if they want to continue your life insurance policies. They have full control over you as a person and over your finances. I've become passionate about this topic is based on personal experience. And I have been following some of the reform bills in Michigan, which, if you want to later reference those, is HB 4909 through 4912. They're not a fix-all, but however, they've been out there for several years, and it's just the beginning to kind of tighten up the guardianship programs in the different counties in Michigan. And when I say tighten up, it would mean to implement certain rules where, the judge has to be note on the record why someone is not suitable. In my case, I was deemed not suitable for my mother's guardian because I made a second opinion dental appointment. And so we're finding where people, elderly particularly, are being deemed incapacitated, and they're placed in these guardianships unnecessarily when they actually have family who was fighting and willing to serve. And when I say fighting, we have people fighting for their families who are consistently spending out attorney fees and taking money out on their homes, losing their homes. Some have committed suicide fighting for their families and their parents.
That's true.
So it's very serious.
We want to say thank you to Christopher Crudup for tuning in. Hey, Chris. He says hello. Hello. We're going to make this really personal. And it happened with my family where there was a substantial amount of money. And this is what we're finding is that if you have $50,000 or more in the bank, they automatically say, hey, you know what? I think this person needs a guardian and we're going to do it from the court. The family's not eligible. And they come up with all kinds of reasons. And even if you have someone who's staying in the home with that family member, they can have that person evicted out of that home and then move the family member out, put them in a home, sell sell all of their things. They don't even allow you the opportunity to take out personal things. We got a comment from Shayna. She says, wow, right. Some families that can be appointed. I don't understand why a stranger can step in. Uh, because if the stranger steps in, Shayna, meaning the court gets to charge fees out of that money. So they pay themselves. Whereas if a family member is taking care of the family, they don't get to pay themselves at all.
Correct. That is correct.
They don't get to take a salary or get a stipend. But if the court says, hey, we're going to do it, they're going to take that money. So some of the reasons, well, in the last 3 years, hey, Juanita Campbell, thank you so much for tuning in. In the last 3 years that I have personally been affected by guardianship, I have found that they looked at the amount of money that was in the bank. They looked at how many insurance policies were there, what was available. They looked at all of that person's assets. How about we just say that?
That
They
is
looked at
correct.
all of their assets and said, whoa. And the other piece was those persons were diagnosed with dementia or Alzheimer's. Shayna says they will take everything. Yes, ma'am. That's not right. No, it's not. How can this be? Is it a way that this can be changed? Well, this is why, number one, you have to vote. You got to vote, and you got to find folks, like Miss Harris, listen to what is her platform. She's saying that her platform is to change that, hold judges accountable and responsible. Then you need to say, oh my gosh, okay, I need to vote for her if you're in her district. If you know of judges that have been fair, that have uh, listened to the families, have not leaned more towards, look at their records. They're public. So you look at their records and say, hey, has this person always leaned towards the family, or are they more towards a court appointed guardian? And if they're on the ballot, that's somebody that you don't want to vote for.
That is correct.
You don't want to vote for them. So it takes you doing your homework. If you want to know, if you are here in Kent County, you can go to the NAACP. They have a book of every person who is running and what they stand for. If you are not in the state of Michigan and you are in any other state, you can go to your NAACP office and ask to get the information on all of your candidates who are running for November, and they can show you, and you can ask, where do they stand with guardianship? Because our Black and brown families are really losing out because we don't have things in place ahead of time. One of the things that happens is that the court will have your family member go to one of their court appointed doctors to get this diagnosis. So if you have a family doctor, then you need to say, hey, no, we already have a diagnosis. Hey, she's only in the early stages. She is not full blown. I mean, she's still capable of making decisions, and get your doctor's note, and you take that doctor's note and you go to court with it. But at the same time, you can start putting money in a conservatorship, on your own. You can put your money in a trust. You can go to the bank and have them sit down and say, this is the way we want to divide it out. Put other people on the checking account, put other people on the savings account. So they can't take it from, my dad put me, I didn't know, but he had put me on his checking account. So as soon as he died, the bank, when I called the bank to, do all this stuff, just because it was my responsibility to do, they said, oh, okay, you tell us what you want to do because everything is in your name. I was like, excuse me, what? Yep, your name is on everything. And so you let us know how you want things to be done. And the first thing I did was move everything. So in case there was any drama, there wasn't going to be any. because he put my name on there and I moved things out. And Shayna says, yes, I will investigate before I vote. It has to change. Families are being torn apart and those under the guardianship are being taken advantage of. They definitely are.
Yes.
Because what has happened is that there was more than a significant amount, a significant amount. Did I say significant?
Yes.
It was a significant, more than $50,000 that was in an account. And as soon as they saw that, they didn't pay any of the family members' bills
Yes.
at all. They
Yes.
have never missed a payment. Um, they didn't write any check. They had automatic withdrawals. And the courts, what they did was they automatically took the money that was in that person's account and put it into a new account that only had the guardian and the court's information on there. So the family couldn't even touch the money if they wanted to.
That's
And
correct.
so they had the bills all on automatic payment. They were all being rejected. So
Yes.
the lights, the gas, the car note, the insurance payments, everything had lapsed.
Yes.
And they said they're not going to need that anymore. So none of that stuff was even paid because they immediately put that person in a nursing home and put on there that the family could not have visitation rights because
Yes.
they needed the older person to get acclimated to their new surroundings, and having family come there would only upset it. So they needed to get acclimated to their new setting.
Yes.
So family was denied visitation.
Isolation.
Uh-huh. And then the home, the family home that was paid for, it had been paid for probably more than 20 years. That meant when it sold, that was pure cash that was going to get deposited into this new account that the family wasn't even going to get because the
Correct.
court now has control over it.
That is absolutely correct, Dr. Barrington. You hit it nail spot on, nail nail on the head. I mean, it's just it is what it is, and I've learned um, through this journey over the past year and a half that some of the wards have up to 8 to 9. I'm sorry, some of the guardians have up to 800 to 900 wards. How can you effectively manage
Mm.
that many people? So basically, it's a checkbox and a paycheck for them. My personal experience with my mom, some of her bills right now are not being paid. So we're going through that. You know, they refuse to show me the bank statements. But one thing you have to do, you have to educate yourself on the law. So when you make those requests, you have to use the law. And as an interested person, you have the right to ask for those records, and they have to provide them to you. So it's all about knowing the laws. And one thing that you did ask me that I did know about how many citizens are in Gaines Township, I did my homework on the Kent County Commissioner Board. And the county commissioners, one of their tasks is to represent the county, manage its property and business by adopting rules and making regulations, ordinances, and policies. And if I'm elected, one of the suggestions that I'm going to make is an overhaul of the Kent County guardianship programs. I've learned so much with the conservators that they only have to turn in the very last page of the bank statement of their accounting. They're only responsible for turning in a person's accounting once a year, one time a year. So they go a whole entire year of overseeing your family's finances, and they only have to report to the courts once a year with the last page of the bank statement.
We want to say thank you to Lisa Franklin, who's tuning in all the way from Detroit, Michigan. Shayna has a question. You want to answer it?
I can't, if, I'm sorry, let me get my glasses, Shayna. If the person passes away, do they let the family know? Well, they should, but in my personal experience of meeting other families that have been impacted, some of them had not been notified that their family members had passed away. There's family members that actually have been moved 700 miles away from their family. Like Dr. Barrington said, they isolate them, they over medicate them, and sometimes they just stop feeding them. They make all the medical decisions without even contacting their family. If you're familiar with the Wendy Williams story, it's happening. It's happening to are non-celebrity families. It's happening in Michigan, it's happening across the United States. So sometimes they don't let the family know. Sometimes your parent or family member can be in the hospital. They don't have to call you and let you know that they're in the hospital. They have full control over this person.
You want to read it out loud?
The guardians are not looking out for the care of the person. They are robbing them and getting away with it. That is true. Now, I'm not going to say all guardians are this way, but the stories that I have heard, there's the majority. So guardianship needs overhaul, and Congress needs to really step in. It's from what I've learned, the statistics are like it's $1 billion industry. And they're making money off of the elderly, the disabled, those that are vulnerable and they cannot protect themselves. So they remove them from their family because their families are fighting for them. So they remove you away from your family so they don't know what's going on and they can't speak for themselves. You know, confusion comes with age. Everyone doesn't have dementia. But like Dr. Barrington says, some of the courts use the same psychiatrist to send the person to so they can be deemed incapacitated, and then they feel that they're warranted a conservatorship and guardianship. They also say family squabble, and that's one of the things that I do like about one of the reform bills, because it's addressing interpersonal conflict among the siblings. I mean, sometimes when one of the parents dies, there's conflict among the family. That still does not give the judges a right to not determine which child has the best interest of the person or is willing and suitable to serve as that guardian. So that's one of the changes that I like in the reform bill, because they cannot continue to say, oh, it's family drama, we're appointing a public guardian. So
Hi, Lisa. Lisa Franklin says hello. Shayna has another comment, and then we'll go to a break.
Okay. Everyone's getting a piece of the pie and giving the right care that is needed. So what I've heard, and this is not true in my experience from my attorney. I do have an attorney who's been very transparent with me, very honest.
Not giving.
Not giving. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So from my experience, from just dealing with other victims and their families and hearing their stories, some of the attorneys are getting a piece of the pie. Adult protective services of those states are getting a piece of the pie. Even the judges are getting a piece of the pie. So it's a criminal enterprise, basically, in some states.
The time is now 4:32. We want to say thank you so much for tuning in today. Our guest is candidate, yes, Roslyn Harris, and she is the candidate for Kent County Commission, and it is district number 10 that she will be representing. However, one of her passions that's on her list that she's going to work in while she's on office is we're talking about reforming the court as it relates to guardianship. And so we knew we were going to have this conversation, but I think this works out really well that we start with the education piece, where we educate what is guardianship, what do we need to do. And even after all of this has been said and done, regardless of how the courts may be right, wrong, indifferent, regardless of the experience, it is incumbent upon us as family members to sit down and have a discussion. We need to have these conversations and say, look, nobody ever likes to talk about the what ifs, but you don't want them to make a decision about us. We just don't. So I implore you that your goal immediately, not next week, but get on the phone after you finish watching the show. It's going to be on YouTube, and I can put it on all of my pages in case your family doesn't have, social media. Everybody looks at YouTube. And so this is airing live on YouTube as well. And you need to have the conversation and say, look, in the event that you're incapacitated for any particular reason, or any of us are, because God forbid, if you get into a car accident tomorrow and you have children and you have a family, the state can come in and just take over everything,
Absolutely.
especially if you're single. Shana says, yes, this is a much needed conversation, in every family. It is. I mean, even for you, Shana, you have two children and you are in a wheelchair. What happens if something happens to you? The state can come in. Oh my gosh. So Lisa wants to know, can you tell us about voting rights under guardianship?
You don't have any. You don't have any rights. Your civil rights are basically stripped. You don't even have a right. My mother was over for a weekend and she wanted to spend an extra night, and the guardian told me to take her home. He said, take her home now. I even filed a police report because I said that's an over abuse of power. And she had to go home. It was chilly. She had to get out of her pajamas, get dressed, and go home. She has no choice. No, they determine how you travel. Although what's best, they say it's what's best for the ward. They can they can put PPOs on family members, so you're not able to see them. So it's gone beyond what it should be. Guardianship, in a nutshell, should really be for someone who doesn't have someone that wants to stand up. And no, they don't have voting rights. They don't have rights to say, I want to stay here. It's where this guardian tells them where they want to stay. Thankfully, my mom is still at home, but any day they can decide to go in front of the court and say, we want to put her in a nursing home. We want to sell her home. The bills are eating too much, eating up much of the assets, too much of the assets.
Lisa Franklin said, wow. And she said, not even absentee.
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Well, their mail, they don't even have the right to read their mail. The guard, like I said, they have hundreds of wards. So just think, they have all this mail forwarded to them. So when you're under a guardianship and conservatorship, you don't even have your own mail. Your mail gets forwarded to this person that oversees you. So it's up to them to come and bring your mail to them. Are they doing it? Can they do that for 200, 300, 400 people a month? Probably not.
Her contact information, she's running for office. Lisa Franklin said, please share contact information. I'll put it back up again.
Okay.
And it is her website. And Whitney Penn, thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi, Whitney. Yes, so that RoslynHarris.com, you can actually use the contact me and put your message in there, and it'll send an email right directly to my email address, and I can check. So just leave a contact number, phone number, what have you. Like I said, I have partnered with other advocates across the state, and we are pressing. We are pressing with Attorney General's office. We are following some of the bills that are out there, but hopefully we can get some new laws made. It has to be something done. And hopefully Michigan can set the precedence, because during some of the research, I've learned that Michigan is one of the states in the United States that has the most cases of guardianship. And now I think New York is pretty much neck and neck. So
Lisa Franklin said, appreciate it. Great. Vertaji said, I'll send an email.
Okay, thank you.
My heart is breaking. We got lots of hearts and lights going up. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. So again, Whitney said, hey, Mom.
So it's very important to sit down and have your paperwork, your estate planning done. However, there's been cases where the judges have revoked the power of attorneys. They have not gone by what's in the trusts. So they are not honoring those estate plans in some cases. But if it's still a good thing to do, so you have it documented. So then if you do have to file an appeal, or if you do have to file a complaint with the Judicial Tenure Commission, you have that paperwork documented, because that's what it's for. You're completing this paperwork so you don't have to go through this. And when you think about probate, you think about probate when someone passes away. Why are we in probate when someone is still living?
I love you too, Whitney Penn. Appreciate you. I'm gonna say it again. Your homework is to, number one, sit down with your family and make a plan.
Yes.
One of the things that, if someone is elderly and driving, you need to check them, because that's how this particular person got into the system, was because they were out driving, got turned around, could not answer the questions. And yes, they were in the early, when I say early, I mean early stages of dementia, had just been diagnosed by the doctor. So they were working on the plan, had someone move in with her, family was taking care of everything for her, but she slipped out on her own, got in the car. They thought they had hid the keys well enough, but she had an extra set and was out driving and got turned around and had been out there for almost 2 hours going in the wrong direction. And the police stopped her because she was weaving in and out of traffic, trying to read, couldn't figure it out. It was getting late. And that's how she got caught by the court. So when they wrote up the ticket, they were like, you know what, we can't. They didn't even let her go. They stayed there until they called every family member in her phone, and somebody answered and came out there, met with them, and then they turned it directly into the court. So
Yeah.
we're going to have to be proactive. It's not just left on our legislators. We have to take this very personal. It needs to be proactive. You need to sit down as family members and say, okay, who's going to be in charge? And it doesn't have to be the oldest one, you know, who has the most time, who can actually move in if someone needs to move in, or if mom or dad need to move in with you. Do you have a place for them to move into? Then if you decide as a family that you want them to be in a home, then somebody, even if you have Medicaid, Medicare, or insurance, and you're taking care of your bill, you know, and once they get into that system, it gives the court an opportunity to step in. Let's see, we have a comment. All right, here we go. What about a will is the question that Shayna has.
That I'm not able to speak on. So a living will, I've seen where they haven't honored any of the estate plans in the courts. You know, there was one situation where someone in the southeast area of Michigan, mom who had a trust, and basically they tried to drain the trust. So they didn't even follow who, you know, her first trustee, her trustees that she had listed. It's about money. So any type of loophole that they can jump through to appoint a public guardian or to drain the trust, it's happening. And the family must step up. Yes, the family has to step up and split time and care. Exactly. Yes, they have to be cohesive. They have to be a team. And I do want to share that I traveled to DC to meet up with some advocates a couple weeks ago, and I had an opportunity to meet an investigative journalist who's very passionate about guardianship, and her name is Diane Diamond. She wrote a book, Where Guardianships Goes Wrong. You can find that on Amazon, and she shared this.
Diane, hold on,
Guardianships Goes Wrong.
DAMOND, and it's called When
Guardianship Goes Wrong. Diane Diamond, DIMOND. Not like the jewel, but just DIMOND.
Okay, I see your question, Lisa. I'm coming right there.
That's a good resource. You know, she shared a story with me where even a landlord wanted a elderly tenant out of the apartment who had been there I want to say 30 to 50 years in the apartment. He guardianized her and moved her into a nursing home because he wanted to rent the apartment out to someone else. So she's got a book out there that I would recommend you guys read. I'm just starting to read it. It's DIA. I'm sorry, take the A out, Dr. Yep, Diane Diamond. And then there's several movies too that came out. There was one called The Guardian, and then The Bad Guardian, which was Layla Anthony. That really depicts how the guardianship
You said
abuse.
there's no I in it.
No A. I'm sorry.
It's just DIMOND.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, wait a minute. Why is it not letting me? Oh, because it's not. I'm not in the thing. All right, hold on. So while I'm typing this up, Lisa's question is, what's the difference between guardianship and conservatorship?
The guardianship is over the person has control over your custody, your care, you as a person. The conservatorship is in Kent County the same person, just with a dual role, and then the conservator oversees the assets, so the bank accounts, the property, any life insurance policies, any assets that the person owns. So in some states, I've learned that it's split, but in Kent County, it's a dual role for the one person.
Okay, there we go. Boom, that's corrected. And boom.
There you go. Thank you.
And that book is available on
Amazon. Mm-hmm.
Is on Amazon. So maybe we need to get a hold of her and have her come on and
Yes, I have her contact information. She actually wants to stay connected, and she also is on my social media, so I do have access to her. Very, very, very in tune with what's going on, and very, very good resource. And then if anyone's just at home on the weekend and want to pull up a movie, I Care a Lot on Netflix. There's The Guardian.
Yes, I Care a Lot. That was such a good movie. We just talked about that. We were talking about that.
Mm-hmm. And then there's The Bad Guardian, which Layla Anthony. So they really depict a true. It's unbelievable when you realize this is really happening, because you think the courts are they're full of integrity, and you don't think that a judge is really doing this to you. And just even in my case, he ordered fees that I shouldn't be paying as my mom's conservator, and then he appointed a public guardian, and he had this guy basically harassing me for $12,000 that I didn't even owe the court. What were they going to do with this money? When you're ordered by the court to make a payment, I understood you take the payments down to the court and make the payments. But they wanted me to mail this money to a P.O. box, and I didn't feel comfortable with it. And I fought with my attorney, and they reconsidered a portion of the fees. And I still don't agree with it. So I'm still in the process of fighting for what's right. And it's what they're doing is not right. And again, it needs to be addressed on a higher level. So when you go to these conventions with Kamala Harris, your legislative offices, wherever, speak up about guardianship, because it's happening in every single state.
Okay, so Shanna says this will be great for the show. So we will reach out to her after the show. We'll have the conversation. And can I turn this into a series? What do you want me to turn into a series, Shana? She said, it's so many layers to this that needs to be discussed. We need to be educated.
Absolutely.
And we definitely will.
Absolutely.
Lisa Franklin says, so other counties who may not have the dual, could the person be in jeopardy?
No, because they may not have the dual, because some of the counties just have the guardianship handle everything.
Okay. Thank you, Vertaji. Vertaji said this is great information. What I have found in the last, I want to say, year or two has been guardianships as it relates to us as color, where we have really had the most difficulty, has been guardianships and autism. Those are two big, issues.
Yes.
So that means that you're definitely going to have to stay connected. You're going to have to vote, is what you're going to have to do. And we can only do so much. If you have folks that are great candidates doing stuff, let me know. We can have them on the show, talk about their platforms. But if you are in Kent County, you definitely know this is someone who's going to have your best interest at heart. And as 100 shades, and it falls under our purview of our mission, I can endorse. Now on Tuesdays, we can't endorse on Tuesdays, but on Wednesday we can endorse. Yep, Shayna, we have to vote. There are too many of our people who died, who were maimed, in order for us to have the vote, even as women. I mean, even when we got the vote as a people, women still could not vote. Don't let that all be in vain.
Right.
Those that went before us, by not taking the opportunity to get out there, exercise your vote, pay attention to what's being said, you know, look at the issues that they're fighting about, because sometimes what they're fighting about is not what it's really about. They want to keep you distracted so
Yes.
that you don't take the time to find out what the candidate really stands for.
It's true.
And we could have talked about everything. She's got 7, initiatives on her platform. However, this is the one that is affecting us the most, and that is really the most important, and that needs to happen now because there are so many that are experiencing it. I feel badly that I have a family member who's going to die, has all of this family, and is going to die alone in a nursing home because she got turned around in her car. Something as simple as that. Yep. Get your tissue out. There's my tissue. I'm just,
Yep.
y'all know how I feel about stuff. I'm a big old baby, and
It's okay.
we are very transparent on this show.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hurtful because her husband, everybody was there, family, friends, church members, and held his hand until the end. And here it is, she's left alone, literally. And after everything that they've worked for, everything that they've done, for her to have to die alone. Ooh, we need to get on top of our business. We do. And we're going to have those conversations with our family members and make a decision now.
Absolutely.
You need to make a decision now. And if you're a person with a disability, while you're still able to make your decisions, make them and make them known. Thank you. And anybody else whose family has been separated by guardianship, you you definitely are in our prayers, and most definitely um, you got some folks who are working towards it. And I tell you, everybody has a circle of influence. Everybody, everybody,
Absolutely.
everybody has a circle of influence. And if you don't want to start the conversation, don't know how to start the conversation, again, as soon as this broadcast ends, it'll be shareable on YouTube because it's live on YouTube right now. And as soon as this ends, you guys can start sharing the video. And many of you who tuned in, I'll be able to post it on your page. Post it on your page. Roslyn, Mm. My heart is hurting with
Yes.
the reality,
Yes.
the reality.
Yes. And I'm here before everyone because my mother asked me to fight for her. And that's what I'm doing. I'm honoring my mother's wishes and learning that there's other victims and all over. It just makes me more passionate, and it becomes just not about my mother. It becomes just about the people. Just
Mhm.
having a heart for people and making sure people are treated right and with dignity and respect.
With that being said, if you want to be a caregiver for someone in your family, please reach out. Interim Healthcare is in Western Michigan. And if you mention my name and you mention the show, you get a $300 sign on bonus for becoming a caregiver. And you can care just for your family member. And that way you can really keep an eye on what's happening. And if you see those changes, then you get your family member to the doctor, get your own, affidavit, if you will, of their mental state, and then you move all the money out. Move the money, move it, put it in a separate, account. You know how we put stuff in our babies' names and cousin and them, put it in the dog's name. but um, but definitely we will have more conversations.
Yes.
And if we can get a hold of Miss Diamond, we'll see if
Yes.
she can come back next Wednesday and we can talk about her book and we can continue this conversation. And we are going to end the show with Shayna's comment. And it is, this was a much needed show, a great eye opener. Help us to get things in order. My grandmother would say, get your house in
Yes.
order.
Yes.
So, Granny, we getting our house in order. Gigi, we getting the house in order. Nana, we getting the house in order. Big
Right.
Mama, we getting the house in order. We are in any other name, Aunt Bess, Uncle Moot, whosoever it is, as my grandma. So whosoever, we are going to get our house in order, and we're going to help each other. We're going to come back and be the community that we once were. We were a very close community. We had our own lawyers, doctors, we were teachers, we were professionals, we had our own hotels, we had our own restaurants, and we need to get back to the genesis of it all and protect ourselves because we don't know who's going to be in office. We really don't. We know who we would like to have in office. However, we don't know. We honestly don't. And so we need to get it together. And the Bible says the people perish for lack of knowledge. So we're going to educate,
Yeah.
educate, educate,
That's right.
educate. Did we say educate?
Educate.
All
One
right.
last one last thing. I am
Yes.
working on getting an advocacy group together with some people in the community so we can have summits and councils and invite some of the churches out so we can just really get this out there and have a bigger platform. So just stay tuned. And I'd like to have you, Dr. Barrington, to help us and support us.
You know she gonna do what she do.
All right.
Look, if I had to toot my own horn myself, I'll be there to do this. And I love you guys. And if you've watched this show, the GRTV 25, we want to say thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate you for your viewership. And this information will be relevant and it will be timely. So, because it doesn't air until the following week. But we love you and we appreciate you. And I will be posting this show from YouTube over so that you can share it with everybody and start having those conversations with your family. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on next